Welcome, my friends, to Pop Culture Fridays. I'm your host, Troy. I am in a little town, a little city called Battle Creek in the Lakeview area, Chapel Hill neighborhood. As you can see, beautiful foliage coming in the trees. You've got like a nice elementary school and park across the street. And we're in like pretty good neighborhoods here. This is probably we're in like the middle class, but we're on the cusp of having very rich neighborhoods surrounding very beautiful place, and taking a walk through the neighborhoods. Now, why am I doing this? Well, last night I was taking a walk down this very street, minding my own fucking business. Kind of dressed like I am now, except no glasses. It's about 9:15 p.m. Now listen, I like to take walks at night. All right, I lived in cities for a long time. Many years of my life lived in cities where everybody walks. I like to walk in the morning. I like to walk at night, especially at night because, tires you out. You get to wind down. If you're feeling stressed, it's been a very stressful week for me. No internet for the 5th week in a row. I'm visiting my mom here. That's why I'm here. And, my phone broke. This phone I'm recording with now is barely holding on. I've got it attached to a portable charger because it's the only way it works. That's why the audio may or may not be good. So I've got to get a new phone. Weird stuff, right? So I take walks, clears my head, gets me out of everything. And so that's what I was doing. Well, I'm walking down this street last night, about 9:15 p.m., and 2 police officers come and stop me and essentially interrogate me for several minutes, asking what I'm doing. And the reason that they did that was because somebody in this neighborhood called the police on me for looking suspicious and loitering. Show yourself! I'm just kidding. Now, I was wearing like a black Columbia coat, kind of similar to what I'm wearing now, without the sunglasses, and just walking around and, enjoying the beautiful night. It gets dark back here. There are street lamps, or street lights, or whatever you want to call them, and but you can see the stars. So I like to walk around and look at the stars, and let's be honest, people, when they take walks at night, they like to walk by houses and you get to kind of see inside. It's not because you're a criminal and you're going to break into someone's house, but you just like to see how people are living. You like to see they're watching Mama's Family, they're eating popcorn, they're fat, they don't know what's going on. It's not a peep and Tom or a voyeuristic situation. Everybody does it. That's not necessarily why I was doing it, but if I walk by a house at night and the windows are open, of course I'm going to look at it. I'm human. Why not? I like to see what other people are doing. But I'm not scoping the place. So anyway, the police show up, and they're actually very nice. I don't blame the police because they're doing their job. They get a call, they have to come, and they explain to me that there's a lot of break-ins in houses and cars in this neighborhood. So I get it. It's kind of unnerving because they were both, I had to guess, one of them was probably 23 and another one was maybe 27, and maybe it's just getting older and having to deal with that. Like my doctor, it looks like he's 9, and I'm like, are you sure? Like, did you go to junior high medical school? Like, is your mom or dad around? Can I talk to them? But that's one of the things, getting older, so it could be that. But they were very cool, but it bothered me because, on the one hand, I can understand why somebody, if it's a little old lady, or if it's, I think I know who it is, by the way. Thinking about it, I think I know who did it, because they drove by me in a car, and they were on their phone, and the lady was kind of looking at me, like looking back, like trying to see who I was. And then they pulled into a driveway ahead of me down the road, but they didn't get out of the car, and they backed out and then just drove away. And I could see she was on her phone because she had her dumb little phone open, so you can see the bright light. It was night. Anyway, I don't remember what I was saying, but the cops were very nice, but it just bothered me that somebody called the police on me because, I'm the only one walking. First of all, that's the real crime here, folks. that I'm the only one walking in these neighborhoods. I'm the only one walking right now. Now there are other people walking around because it's 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And actually one of the police officers said this to me and was like, well, people tend to walk in the morning. I'm like, yeah, but this is America. We can walk wherever the fuck we want to walk. And again, I understand that when you get into smaller cities and smaller towns, people have a way of doing things. They may bury it up. They like to watch Andy Griffith and jerk it or whatever they do, and that's the mentality, the habit. Everybody fall in line. But I don't want to fall in line. I'm who I am. And if loitering is me wandering around a neighborhood, admiring the architecture, and I might even stop like this and look at the trees, especially at night, because you get interesting shadows off of the street lights, And so if I stop and look at something, I'm not plotting a murder, you know what I mean? And the disappointing thing is that somebody called the police on me, and it sort of, to me, it sort of reflects on how they think as a human being. Now, if I'm wrong that it wasn't the douchebags in the car that called the police on me, if it was just some little old lady who was like, oh my, okay, fine, you do what you got to do, or a little old guy, whatever. But it's sort of like, it just sort of gives me an insight into this neighborhood, which, I grew up in this city. We're a little west of Detroit here, so I'm familiar with this city. And when I was talking with the cops, I threw down the lingo. I was like, yeah, Sir Pizza, Penfield Pizza, Horrocks, so he knows that I'm from around here, even though I am just visiting. But I feel like a salmon swimming upstream culturally and trying to connect with an area that I'm sure most people are good people, and they don't have a problem with me walking around, or they don't have a problem with people who do things differently. But it just sort of threw me off, because it gives me insight. This is what I'm trying to say. It gives you insight into how people think of other people. Because, listen, if you call the police on someone, now all of a sudden I'm in a situation where it's night, I'm wearing black, it's not like a super well lit street. And the cop, to be honest, to his credit, he got out of the car, he didn't really hesitate or anything. He just sort of walked up to me. It was night. He couldn't see my hands, but he was cool. We talked and all that. But you call the cops on someone, and what if that cop is having a bad day? They're just people. What if he's having a bad day and I'm irritated that I have to talk with him, I say the wrong thing, and next thing you know, it could go horribly wrong, and my life is different because you called the cops on someone who is suspicious and loitering on in your own description. But I'm just a stoner out walking, looking at the trees at night, trying to take in the fresh air, get a little exercise before I hit the sack. And the next thing I know, I'm doing 8 to 10 at Alcatraz, getting pounded because some person decided they wanted to call the police first rather than exercise some other route. Is that unfair? I don't know. You could comment below if you think that's unfair. I don't think it's unfair. Now, so there are, according to the cops, there are lots of break-ins in this neighborhood. But, people are different. Is that, maybe they're exaggerating. Maybe that cop's exaggerating. Maybe there are a lot of break-ins. Maybe somebody got their house broken into and now they can't get out from under that PTSD, and so anytime they see somebody wearing black walking at night, they're like, criminal, I don't know. Everybody's different. Everybody has different experiences. But now my experience of this place is changed because I had the cops called on me, and I'm out there in the neighborhood now with cop lights flashing, talking to two officers, even though we were having after the first 30 seconds, it was almost like I was doing a podcast with them. And, it was fine. But like, if you're in the neighborhoods and you're watching this and you're seeing a guy with a hat and black hat, and he looks like he's about to, I don't know, people in this neighborhood think that I'm about to jump through a window and take what I want. It makes me look like a criminal. So it's already being framed. Like, first I look suspicious, and then secondly, I'm in the street trying to talk my way out of something with the cops. That's what they see, is a guy talking, he's trying to get out of it. He did something. I don't know what's going on. Wouldn't want to be that guy. Well, I shouldn't have been that guy because I was just taking a fucking walk. And it pisses me off that, because again, I don't want to sound unsympathetic to somebody who might have a genuine concern for the community, but it just makes me feel weird that all of a sudden I'm almost a victim of the night. My evening was thrown off course, potentially because whoever called didn't do their job as a neighbor, didn't do their job as a community member. If somehow the person who called the police on me in Chapel Hill in Battle Creek, October 8th, 2020, at 9:15 p.m., if you call the cops on me and you happen to watch this, let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you know your neighbors? Have you talked with your neighbors? Do you spend time outside? Where if I'm walking in these neighborhoods, I've been here for a few weeks helping my mother paint. Does that sound like a criminal to you? But I've been taking walks through these neighborhoods. Maybe if you were outside more, you would have run into me and we would have had a chat. I know there's a pandemic happening. We would have kept our distance and hopefully and all that. But do you have a text chain with your neighborhood? People in your neighborhood, so you can call, hey, do you see this guy? Am I kooky? Is this weird? Does he look okay? You could have texted. I would, if you had exercised all those means and then decided, I'm going to call the cops just to make sure, then at least I would give you a little more credit. But I have a feeling you went straight to the cops. And you did that without thinking. Anything can happen in those situations. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm here with two guys who have lethal force inches away from their hands. Now, they weren't intimidating. They weren't assholes. They were very nice. But you don't know what you're going to get. Listen, I've crossed borders many times in my life. The Canadian border, the UK border, the French border, the German border. You get up to that, you fly into a country or you cross the border by train or car or whatever. You get up to that podium, you hand your passport. You're in for a human interaction, and that could go any way possible. Usually it's fine, as long as you're nice. It's best to be nice. But they could reject you. They could say, hey, this guy's we think he's got a bomb in his asshole. We're gonna throw him in a room. We're gonna interrogate. They could do anything they wanted, okay? That should be the last fucking resort to call authority figures. And I'm not an anti-cop person. They got a tough fucking job. They did their job. Somebody called them, they checked it out. But when you call the police, and I'm gonna hope that they called the non-emergency number, not the 911 number. But if they did, imagine them talking to the dispatcher, and all of a sudden the dispatcher gets, they take your name and number, and then they're like, all right, what's the problem? And they're like, well, there's this guy, and he's walking around. They're like, well, what's he doing? And all of a sudden, because he or she, I think it was a she, I think it was that lady, I'm telling you, but all of a sudden this person decides, now they're in a situation where they have to defend the justification, they have to justify the phone call they're making to 911. So they're like, I think he had a gun, they don't want to look stupid, or they want to make sure that they have a legitimate reason for calling, so they start to embellish their story. They start to change it a little bit. Go, he looked shifty, and he's shifty, and I think he had shifty parents, and he wasn't hugged as a kid. He hasn't been hugged since the pandemic started. I think he's gonna snap. All those things are true, but she doesn't know that. That's my point. Or he, whatever. So then it just becomes more of a thing. And and things can escalate. So that's why I wanted to come back to this neighborhood. This is not my neighborhood. This is my mother's neighborhood. I mean, I'm here for a while. whatever, and I don't like to give my what I'm trying to say. Neighborhood that I have a right to walk into, and I'm walking right now, and I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna walk at night too. And I said this to the cop when we parted ways. I said, thanks guys, thanks fellas, but we're probably gonna see a lot of each other because I'm gonna walk again. And that's what you gotta do. Go back out there and walk, and not feel like you're living in Mother Russia, because this isn't Russia, this is America. Just think about that if you're watching, if you're the one that called. This is America. We can walk wherever we want to walk at any time at night, even if it's 2 a.m. What if it's 2 a.m. and I can't sleep, and I'm like, I gotta stretch my legs when I go for a walk. Gonna arrest me then? Gonna call the cops then? How am I supposed to look? Should I wear a tux? If I had the time to deal with this even further, I would wear a tux one day, and then another day I'd wear like a top hat and coattails, and then maybe I'd dress up as a panda one day and just walk around. I'm tempted to walk around tonight with a chainsaw, but I know that would probably get me shot, but I'm not gonna do that. But I think it would be funny. Maybe I'll wait for Halloween while I walk around like Leatherface. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about, that experience. And I don't like to talk about stuff like this. I've been in kind of a funk lately. This is kind of a diary. I can't get out of it. I can't find the balance. And the funny thing is that last night I was walking around trying to sort through those thoughts and feelings, and then that happened, and I just think, okay, I don't know if that is a wake-up call, or if I'm out of it now, or if I'm deeper in it. But I remember thinking just before the cop stopped and approached me, both of them, 2 of them, by the way, 2 of them, to deal with a walker, a pedestrian. We got a pedestrian on 20th and whatever. Let's get down there. I remember thinking, when I'm in a funk and I can't concentrate, it's really hard for me to watch movies. But when things are rolling good, I can focus on anything. And I've been having trouble focusing. And the point of me mentioning this is that for these podcasts, I would rather talk about films. I don't like talking about politics. I don't want to talk about social stuff. Everybody gets enough of that, and everybody shoots stuff out their asshole all day long. Some of it's fine. Most of it's annoying. It doesn't mean that any of it's not stuff I would agree with. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm sure you're tired of seeing it. And so I try to keep this light, because you can go to dark almost every other place. God, there's some beautiful foliage here. I really want to turn the camera around. Maybe I will when I get up here. But I got to get back into it. So we're coming up on Halloween. I just watched Nightmare on Elm Street. Just bought Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 2. Watched the first one on DVD the other night, so I was able to concentrate for that. I'm kind of disappointed that I don't have Dream Warriors, which I think is the best one. I kind of like to do a podcast about that. That's what I normally want to talk about. I don't like to talk about these sort of interactions. I don't know if this is, but I guess it's popular culture, whatever. So, okay, that's all I have for you. Follow everywhere at Pop Culture Fridays. You can find out more about me or info at thisiswhereyouare.com. I've got a lot of new videos coming up on YouTube. I've got a bunch of different projects going, so if you go to thisiswhereyouare.com, you'll find everything. So make sure you subscribe, by the way, if you enjoyed this video, this rant against the system. I feel like John J. Rambo, just trying to get something to eat, and y'all came and fucked with me, and we all know how that movie ended. So happy Halloween, folks. Give me some Halloween tips for episodes. I got a couple more episodes this month before Halloween's over. It's the best time of the year. I love it. So if you got any suggestions or you want to tell me any Halloween stories, email me. thisiswhereyouare.com. Okay.